Oh my goodness, it's, what time is it? It's, 4 o'clock, 10 after. All right, so it's a couple hours, 3 hours. I got home around 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. To batten down the battery, to mount the solenoid, starter solenoid, to wire the starter solenoid, to run ground wire to this bolt, and from that bolt, the ground wire goes forward down to the starter motor. Then from the hot side of the battery, which is going to be this right here, that'll go here. That's going to come over to the hot side of the solenoid. And from the solenoid, it goes out this wire down here and is roughly in this position. Once I get everything mounted, I will put the eyelet on it that connects it to this starter motor terminal. So we've got ground going to the starter motor. We have starter voltage going to the starter motor area. And we're pretty well ready to hook this to the battery. And I'll do that probably tomorrow. There's no need to do it now. The starter assembly is not installed. I just laid it in there so I could check the length of the two wires. The ground wire is very important. It has to go down here and bolt to the frame. This one's very important. It'll probably be about this long when I get done and fit on this and be insulated. So this is your fuse for the bike's main electrical system. And the wires from the charger are going up here from the rectifier regulator. So it's this area is all pretty well rewired. Rewiring the whole bike was not in scope, so we're just going to make do with the rest of it. I always run sort of, I put an eyelet on here and run 3 or 4 or 5 red wires out of it. If anybody needs ground, I got them hanging here. If they don't, I'll just cover them up with shrink tubing for future use by anybody who may ever need a ground wire. That way you don't have a whole lot of wires on the terminals of the battery. You want it as minimal as possible. One ground goes to ground. From that ground, it goes to the rest of the bike. One power goes to the ignition switch, which then goes to the rest of the bike. Simple wiring, as few wires as possible, as few connections as possible. So it was a full day, and it took a lot of doing. Just for grins, okay, I'm going to turn around now. Here I go, turning around. This is my workbench at the end of the day, and it is what we refer to as a disaster area. Bits and pieces of leftover stuff, bits and pieces of leftover stuff, stuff we may or may not need. Yeah, this is stuff that didn't make the cut. Center punches, drills, wire strippers, crimpers, even a C-clip. Stuff that got used today, and I now have about half an hour of cleanup to put all this stuff away. Okay, I'm done for the day. I'm tired. It's, let's see if I can get this thing to zoom. There you go. It's, let's call it 4:30. Okay, the bike is sitting here. I've got all the wiring done. Batteries wired, solenoids wired, wires going to the starter area, fuse ready to be installed. Last power wire here to be connected to the battery tomorrow. Theoretically, the electrical system is ready to spin the motor. Over here, I've got the starter assembly and new primary case back. This is your new alternator, and with the front drive sprocket. This chain goes from there to the clutch hub. These little bits hold things in. These little bits are spares. New gasket for the primary and some other bits and pieces. This is a tool. This is a tool. And I'll show you how they get used tomorrow during the installation. So, that's where we are. End of day. I'm tired. I'm going inside. I'll do these videos, put them up on the air. And we'll pick up tomorrow when Kevin is here so he can have a chance to lay hands on an Alton and help install it on this bike. And the fun just never stops. Okay, as I was just saying, the fun just never stops. I was reviewing these videos, getting ready to stitch them together, and realized I made a huge misstatement just a moment ago on that last video. That little bitty chain that I said goes from the drive to the clutch doesn't. It's the little chain that goes from the drive to the starter motor. That's all. That tiny little chain could not drive the bike. So, thought I'd say that. And that is all.